This is the story of the Pirate of Prague, and no, it's not a tall tale from the high seas. It's the story of Viktor Kožený, a fugitive financier and convicted fraudster. Viktor Kožený, the man who would come to be known as the Pirate of Prague, is a figure wrapped in layers of intrigue and controversy. Born and raised in Czechoslovakia, his life took a turn when, as a young man, he fled his homeland and sought opportunity in the United States. This decision marked the beginning of a complex journey filled with audacious financial schemes and an ever-rising tide of wealth. His nickname, the Pirate of Prague, was not born out of admiration, but rather as a testament to his notorious reputation. From the moment he stepped foot in America, Viktor Kožený proved he had a knack for navigating the murky waters of finance, using his intelligence and charisma to gain upward mobility while simultaneously amassing a fortune, often at the expense of others. So how did a young man from Czechoslovakia become the infamous Pirate of Prague? Let's delve into his story. From Czechoslovakia to the United States, Viktor's journey was far from ordinary. Having fled his home country, Viktor found himself in the land of opportunities, where he embarked on a new life. His journey to wealth and notoriety began at the hallowed halls of Harvard University. There, Viktor didn't just study economics, he embraced it, embodying the very essence of capitalism. His time at Harvard was instrumental in shaping his character and his future endeavors, while making the connections that would thrust him into the wealthy class of American society. It was here that he learned not just about the mechanics of wealth, but also about the power of influence. Following his supposed graduation from Harvard, Viktor worked a short while in private equity in London, but soon lost his job due to poor work ethic. Shortly after, with very little money to his name, Viktor embarked on a journey that would see him amass a fortune and earn him the infamous nickname, the Pirate of Prague. During the 90s, Viktor's homeland of Czechoslovakia was opening up after decades of Soviet rule and embracing capitalism. Viktor was a man who was not afraid to push the boundaries and exploit loopholes, so it's no surprise that he found this moment in Czech history as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be the first to take advantage of an emerging financial system, regardless of the murky waters of legalities. This set off one of the most notorious moments of his early career when he masterminded the Czech voucher privatization scheme. When the Czech government provided a unique opportunity that allowed citizens to buy shares in state-owned companies. The government, eager to transform the state-controlled economy into a capitalist one, issued vouchers to its citizens similar to that of stocks, which could be exchanged for shares in state-owned companies. Viktor, always the opportunist, saw the potential and created an investment fund. He convinced millions of Czech citizens to entrust their vouchers to him, promising them prosperity and an outrageous 10 times return on their investment with his firm. In the short term, the scheme was wildly successful, and Viktor's wealth skyrocketed, making him a multimillionaire. But with great wealth comes scrutiny. Viktor was accused of manipulating the Czech financial system and of betraying the trust of those who had invested in him. Concerned for his safety, Viktor once again left his home of the now Czech Republic and fled first to Switzerland and then the Bahamas, but the controversy following him seemed to do little to deter his future scheming. Instead, it only seemed to embolden him. Viktor's luxurious lifestyle and the controversial tactics he used to amass wealth and influence are legendary. He lived life on his own terms, unapologetically and extravagantly. He was a man who understood the allure of wealth and used it to his advantage, to draw others into his orbit. This audacious lifestyle gained him short-lived success but would ultimately lead to his downfall. Extravagant parties, lavish purchases and high-profile connections. Welcome to Viktor's world. Viktor Kožený lived a lifestyle that many could only dream of. He was known for his opulent tastes and had a penchant for the finer things in life. His extravagant purchases included everything from luxury cars, sprawling estates, private islands in the Bahamas, $20,000 dinners, and more. It's safe to say Viktor was not shy about showcasing his wealth. But Viktor's lavish lifestyle was not just about indulgence. It was also a strategic move. He used his wealth and opulence to lure in wealthy investors. He would throw grand parties where the champagne flowed freely and every guest was made to feel like royalty. These events were more than just social gatherings. They were a stage for Viktor to display his wealth and power, to impress and seduce potential investors. Viktor's charisma was another weapon in his arsenal. He was described as charming and persuasive, with a knack for making people feel special. He had a way of talking that made you believe in his vision, made you want to be a part of it. He was a master manipulator, able to win over even the most skeptical with his wit and charm. But Viktor's charm was not only used for business. He was known to have a number of high-profile connections, ranging from politicians to celebrities. These connections not only boosted his social status, but also gave him access to information and opportunities that were not available to the average person. However, Viktor was not just a social butterfly. He was also a calculated and ruthless businessman. He knew when to strike and how to play his cards right. He was always one step ahead, always planning his next move. So when most were distracted by the glittering facade Viktor created, he was actually orchestrating something far more sinister. Viktor's strategy wasn't about making money quietly. He understood that his schemes required a steady stream of fresh cash. Starting with his infamous Czech voucher privatization scheme hatched in the early 90s, shortly after the fall of communism in Czechoslovakia, Viktor knew that in order to make immense profit, he needed investors. But Kožený was not content with his Czech conquest. He now set his sights on Azerbaijan, a small oil-rich nation on the Caspian Sea that was going through a similar transition to a capitalistic society to that of Czechoslovakia. Viktor promised investors an opportunity to buy into the state oil company ahead of its privatization, a deal that would yield astronomical profits. Although great effort was made, the privatization never happened, and hundreds of millions of investors' money vanished into thin air. The Azerbaijan scam was the straw that broke the camel's back. Charges were filed against Kožený for fraud, embezzlement, and bribery. His life of luxury was about to take a nosedive, and his reputation was forever tarnished. But the Pirate of Prague was not one to go down without a fight. He contested the charges, maintained his innocence, and managed to avoid extradition to the United States to stand trial. Viktor Kožený's schemes were audacious, his tactics ruthless, and his ambition unbounded. He was a man who saw opportunities where others saw risks, and he was willing to gamble everything for the promise of wealth. But like Icarus, he flew too close to the sun and was scorched by the flames of his own hubris. The Pirate of Prague's ship was about to hit stormy seas, and every pirate meets his end. Viktor was no different. Our story takes a dark turn as Viktor's empire began to crumble. The man who once controlled fortunes and influenced the wealthy was about to meet his downfall. The fall of the Pirate of Prague was as dramatic as his rise. And it all started when Viktor's Azerbaijan scam came to light. His machinations, once considered genius, were now seen for what they were: ruthless manipulation and fraud. His investors, once charmed by his charisma and extravagant lifestyle, now saw their fortunes disappearing into thin air. The law wasn't far behind. Viktor was slapped with multiple charges, including bribery, conspiracy, and money laundering. The man who was once hailed as a financial genius was now on Interpol's most wanted list. His once lavish lifestyle was replaced with courtrooms, lawyers, and a desperate fight to stay out of prison. But Viktor wasn't going down without a fight. He fled to the Bahamas, a country notorious for its lack of extradition treaties. But even in this tropical paradise, Viktor's past caught up with him. In 2005, he was arrested and detained, marking the beginning of a long and grueling legal battle. As for the individuals in Viktor's schemes, their fate was a mixed bag. Some managed to escape the legal dragnet, others were not so lucky. There were those who paid for their involvement with their freedom, while others paid with their reputation. But one thing was clear: the allure of Viktor's promises had led them down a path of ruin. Today, Viktor Kožený remains a fugitive, living in the Bahamas. His once vast fortune is now a fraction of what it once was. His name, once synonymous with wealth and power, is now a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked ambition and greed. Viktor Kožený, the Pirate of Prague, is a fascinating study of ambition, power and downfall. But remember, while pirates may make for good stories, they seldom make for good people. When the dust settled, what remained of the Pirate of Prague? Viktor Kožený's story didn't end with his downfall. The aftermath of his schemes left a trail of devastation, impacting countless lives. Investors who were lured by the promise of untold wealth found their fortunes diminished, their trust betrayed. The damage wasn't just financial. Kožený's actions eroded the faith in the system, casting a shadow over the world of finance. His victims, once hopeful and ambitious, were left disillusioned. The fallout of his schemes rippled throughout society, a grim reflection of the man who once seemed invincible and who was the toast of the town. There are lessons to be gleaned from this tale. It's a cautionary tale of greed, of the dangers of unchecked ambition, and the illusion of invulnerability. It's a tale of a man who thought he could game the system, only to find that the system eventually catches up. Viktor Kožený's tale serves as a stark reminder that not all treasure is worth the cost, and even pirates can't escape justice forever.